It was friendship at first sight. I will never forget the first time I saw you. I was just coming back into our apartment, and for some reason I looked up, and there you were coming out of your apartment.
I was getting coffee from the Keurig machine. And
that was so helpful. Liz, do you remember that moment?
Yes, I was, because the Keurig machine was outside of our door, of our apartment door, and I was getting coffee, and I heard somebody below us, we were on the second floor, and I heard somebody below us, and I looked, and there was Melissa. She looked up, I looked down, and yeah, it was friendship at first sight, man.
When you were here, were both guys still waiting at that time? Were you waiting at the same time for your transplant?
I was. I don't know about Mike.
No, Mike Mike had just had it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just
Guys were in recovery, and we were in a waiting mode.
In fact, we came back when, remember, we sat with you during Jerry's surgery.
Yes.
Your friend from, he was such a lovely person.
Oh, our old pastor from Atlanta, who now lives in Columbus, Ohio, he drove, like you, 2 hours to Cleveland Clinic.
Yes. And
Jerry's transplant.
we'll never forget that. Yeah.
So Jerry, what was it like to see him post-transplant?
I'd like to see Mike post-transplant.
It was really special that they made the trip out there, both our former pastor and Mike and Melissa, to be with Elizabeth, because I didn't want her to be by herself. And I was just thinking about her the whole time. I'm thinking, she's going to have to go through. I don't want to have her go through this by herself. I want her friends and the people that she loves and people that love her to be with her during this time, because I think she'll need the support. And I was so grateful that you guys made that trip and for our former pastor to come out and be with her and just guide her through this thing that you guys already have gone through. So I really appreciated that.
And Melissa, what I remember, I don't know if you remember, but you were in our prayer group, in our text prayer group, and that's when you responded, "We'll be there." And I think I was still in California when you texted that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You'll be there. You can't. I mean, you're in a different state. And you said, no, there's no other place we'd rather be than to be there with you. And if you remember, as you and I were texting after I landed in Cleveland and Elaine picked me up, Jerry was already on the operating table. We were texting each other, and think about it. You came from one end of the country, and here I am from another end of the country, New York and California. And we were texting each other, you and me, like, okay, we just got off the highway. Okay, and then you were texting, yeah, we just passed Costco. Okay, we just passed Presty's. I remember that. And
I had a piece this morning.
And then we got there at the hospital at the same time, if you remember. And then we met in the lobby. It's like, how can that happen? I mean,
The timing was impeccable.
I think
It was godly.
Yes,
It was.
godly.
I mean, we prayed together as you and me, Liz, at Prestige.
Wives. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we
all
prayed
4 of
together
us. Yeah.
at dinner at your house. I mean, God brought us together.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah.
A friendship made for life. I truly, truly believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The great sense of community and support from Transplant House is probably the biggest asset of Transplant House, outside of the wonderful people, but that sense of community that you don't have anywhere else. And because, I was concerned about my wife having to go through this by herself, but that didn't happen. The idea of having people, other women come alongside, share their stories, and she shares hers, it was much needed in that kind of support and that kind of need. And she got that support. And I was so grateful, like having you guys come out the day of my surgery. It was that sense of support that I always thought that my wife would benefit from greatly, not having to go through this by herself.
When we came to the six-pack house, I call it, she reached out to us, And you know, this past week we came again and we saw a couple, we were sitting on the porch and we reached out to them. We could tell that they were nervous and we just felt. And by our doing exactly what you did to us,
I'll never forget the knock on the door.
yeah, we,
Invite for coffee.
yes, in fact, you know, she made us supper last night.
Wow.
We had roast beef, potatoes, and gravy. My kids were so mad at me when I told them what we had for supper. But why is that? Because we still, you know, people can talk all they want about how bad this world is, but we are who we are. When we can be reciprocated, I mean, when we can get that same love out that we've received, what a much better place we live in. And and we made nice friends with these people.
But we have the platform to do it in. That's the thing. You have that platform to do it in.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, friends.
Hello.
Hello. I'm Elaine for our listeners out there. And Laura, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Laura Westendorf, and I live in Martin, Michigan, near the lakeshore. And my husband is a heart transplant as of February 14 of this year.
Wonderful. Amy, do you want to go?
Sure. I'm Amy Eugene, and I'm the operations manager here at Transplant House of Cleveland, and I've gotten to know these two wonderful people on the line here with me and Elaine, so I'm delighted to spend some time with you all.
And Melda.
Hi, I'm Melda Irwin. My husband received a double lung transplant, and he is coming up on his lungiversary on December 12th. So we're almost at a year now, and it's so hard to believe, but we live in Pulaski, Pennsylvania, which is right on the Ohio state line, about an hour and a half from Cleveland. And we're just so thrilled with the success of these transplants.
That is so cool. You know, one of the first times when I started here at Transplant House, you all were a couple of the first people that I met. And I thought, wow, those two are really close. They get along really well. And I had no idea that you weren't even, you know, from the same family or same, you know, donor kind of situation. You had made your friendship while you were here. And so how did that come about?
Well, I think I was moving in on December 23rd, and I met Melda on the stairs as I was going up to my apartment, because she was the first apartment on the first level and I was on the second level. And I was introduced to her family that was there, and I don't think you were going to see Mark that night, were you?
I don't think so. I thought I had just come back from there.
Okay, so the family, so then we just kind of made a connection, and it was a couple days later, or almost a week later, and I said, you know, I met that gal and I haven't seen her again. And then we just so happened that we saw each other, I think, in the cafeteria.
Yeah, we did. Or one was coming out, one was going in. Yeah.
And right then we just decided we were gonna definitely meet up when I got back that night, and then things just took off from there. It was like we found best friend soulmates. Yeah, we were the Transplant House's Lucy and Ethel.
And we loved it.
You know, we were just blessed by the people we met there.
Yeah.
Not just your staff was outstanding, but we met so many friends. And when you go into this, your focus is on the patient and them getting healed, getting better, getting their organ. And never once did I ever think that what I came out of that transplant house with, like if you would have told me that 2 years prior to this, that you were going to move me for months to Cleveland, Ohio, I would say you're crazy because I live in a small, rural Amish community. We have, you know, Amish everywhere, horse-drawn buggies. And here I am moving to Cleveland, Ohio for months.
Mhm.
But I didn't think anything about when I left there what I was going to leave there with. And that is truly the friends that we made there, not just Laura, and seeing their amazing stories with the other people, you know, things that you never knew would be transplanted, you know, such as a uterus or small intestines,
Preston.
you know, and seeing these successes and seeing the struggles, but listening to their stories are just amazing. And I've kept in contact with quite a few of them. And when we come back for appointments, we bring food, you know, we stop in, we find them if they're in town, we're finding them. And so I think that was very, just such a blessing. Just that's the only word I can use to describe it, is a blessing.
Well, it's so wonderful to catch up with both of you. My goodness, this has done my heart good for sure. Yeah. So thank
we
you.
appreciate everything that you do, and keeping those apartments, you know, just meticulous, and stocking them with everything that you could ever want. There wasn't much that we needed at all. So we do appreciate everything that the Transplant House and you all do for each of these families, and for us. You know, we always want to give back at some point here.
No, but I think as we move out, you know, from all of this, I think that there will be more of that. You know, Brian and I do, when we come to Cleveland, we always drive over there, but you can't get out, you can't, you know, pop in or do any of that stuff. So, but yeah, we have said, you know, there's something for people with children. There's something for people with cancer. And it is such a blessing that there is this place for transplant families.
Absolutely.
Because when you're going through it, you seem to think you are the only one. And even when it's not the same organ, your journeys are very much alike. And you have so much to share with each other, I think.
Thank you for that. Well, you're both a blessing to us and to many. I know you keep in touch. I see it on Facebook. I know you're reaching out to others that we care so much about. So thank you for being people who do that, and for taking this time to talk to us.